Well, it is 2 o'clock. I do want to respect your time, but good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending where you are located and calling in from. My name is Sharice Imai, and welcome to the Military Interstate Children's Compact Commission, or MIC3, webinar series, MIC3 Presents. Today's webinar is titled Tutor.com for Military Families. So what is Tutor.com? It's a program funded by the U.S. Department of Defense Morale, Welfare, and Recreation, or MWR, General Library Program, and the Coast Guard Mutual Assistance. They provide on-demand online tutoring and homework help at no cost to eligible service members, civilian personnel, and their dependents. Today, you're going to learn more about this resource and the exciting new features they launched in 2023. So a little bit about our two speakers this morning or this afternoon or evening. First, Maureen O'Haney is the Senior Program Manager for Tutor.com Military and Governmental Programs. She's been with the program for over 10 years. Military brat, she was born in Guam and attended 9 different schools before she graduated from a DoD high school in the United Kingdom. She's an Air Force spouse, and she and her family are stationed at Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska. She holds degrees in journalism and mass communication, as well as technical and professional writing from the University of New Mexico. She began her career in state government public affairs, however, found her passion lies in working with military families like her own. Our second guest is Jolene McNutt. She's the Military Outreach Coordinator for Tutor.com. She lives near Fort Bragg in Pinehurst, North Carolina with her family, and she is a graduate of the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where she studied life sciences communications with a focus on marketing. Jolene loves serving military families and helping them connect with resources like Tutor.com. So welcome, Maureen and Jolene.
Thank you so much. We're really excited to be here. I am going to share my screen and find the right one here. Okay. All righty. Can we all see purple? All right, great. Thank you. So Jolene is gonna also monitor the chat along with the MIC3 folks. So if you have any questions that she can answer there, she can answer them directly there. If there's something that we want to share with the group, we can go ahead and do that as well. So, well, we were so well introduced that I don't need this slide anymore, except I need to go to the next one. All right, so as she said, that Tutor.com is funded by the Department of Defense as well as Coast Guard Mutual Assistance. We do provide on-demand live support in over 150 academic subjects now for our military community. It is kindergarten all the way through college that we serve. The service is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So no matter what time zone you find yourself in, you should be able to get a tutor in any one of the subjects that you need help in. And our service is safe, anonymous, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that means in just a moment. But in terms of eligibility, they really opened up the floodgates of eligibility in 2020. So now any person serving in any capacity in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, or Coast Guard is eligible to use Tutor.com. And that includes the service member, all dependents in grades K through 12, college dependents as well, and spouses as well are eligible. In addition, all DoD civilians and all of their dependents are eligible to use Tutor.com now. Any student attending a DoDEA school is eligible regardless of what their parent does. Cadets at service academies, as well as ROTC and NROTC cadets at universities across the country are also eligible. And if anyone has any questions about, eligibility, we're happy to answer those as we go as well. So Tutor.com, it's very easy to create an account at Tutor.com. You simply go to tutor.com/military. This is what the home screen looks like there, and you will click on your branch of service or DoD civilian and just follow all the instructions and steps to create an account. Every student in the home can have their very own Tutor.com account, and we do recommend that every student have their own account. And it takes maybe just 2 minutes to create the account. So it's super easy to do in the moment of need. When someone needs help on that math problem at 9 o'clock at night, they can go, and if they don't have an account already, they can get one and get started. So just a little bit about who our tutors are. So we have almost 4,000 tutors that work for us at tutor.com. They are all paid subject matter experts. They are all background checked, in many instances now fingerprinted as well. And so it's a very safe place, safe people for our students to connect with. That being said, we do still keep the service anonymous. There are no cameras in our classroom at all, but we do have voice and text chat. So we have over 150 subjects available. That's all of our core subjects, but we continue to add subjects constantly. So we've got, all of your math, science, English, social studies, etc. We also have some world languages that are available: Spanish, French, German, Italian, and Arabic for our military community. We have business subjects. We have some computer programming, as well as some computer literacy subjects. We have Java and C++, as well as Access, Excel, PowerPoint, and Word, if anybody needs assistance in those. We have a bunch of nursing and allied health subjects as well. And we also have a lot of test prep, which I'll talk about in a little more detail in a moment. And we have our study skills and parent coaching subjects. So those include things like, study, how to take notes, motivation and goals, study tips and tricks, maybe someone has test anxiety, for example. They can go and connect with one of our stress management tutors, and they can give them some tips and tricks on how to deal with test taking anxiety, time management. And then the same thing for parent coaching. When we launched our student success subjects, we actually had a lot of parents utilizing them. This was during the pandemic. So we went ahead and created a category just for parents where they can go in there and also connect with our tutors for some tips and tricks on dealing with their students and their academic pursuits, including motivation and balancing, extracurriculars and all that stuff as well. So I like to kind of set the stage of what to expect from tutor.com. Typically, when you try to connect with a tutor, your wait time is going to be about 1 to 5 minutes. Sometimes it's just a few seconds, but we like to say about 1 to 5 minutes on average. You'll put in your topic, your subject, etc., click connect, and that's when that timer will start. An average session with one of our tutors is typically about 20 to 30 minutes. The goal of any of our sessions is to get the student to an academically sound conclusion. So they're not going to do the student's entire homework assignment with them. They're going to sit there and go over a couple of problems with them, make sure that the student understands the concepts, or the problem, or whatever it is that they came into the session with. And then they will say to the student, you can go try a few of these on your own, and then maybe come back when, if you struggle again, or if you want us to take a look at any of those. So typically that takes about 20 to 30 minutes. It is, as I mentioned, anonymous between the tutor and the student, no cameras at all in our classrooms. But we do have voice chat, but it is optional as to whether the student wants to turn that off or on or not. And we are curriculum agnostic at tutor.com, so we don't offer any curriculum in particular. Our tutors should be able to assist students with whatever method of learning that they have. If for some reason one of our tutors can't assist, they do have the capability to transfer them to another tutor that can assist with that. And again, it is K-12, kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, as well as up through about a bachelor level in college. We also have amazing writing support, which we'll go into a little more detail in just a moment, but that is all skill levels. My husband actually used the writing support for his master's. When he was writing his thesis, as he would write parts of it, he would drop it off and get one of our tutors to review it for him. So all of our tutors are real human beings. So their style, their pacing, it's going to differ. And some students are going to connect better with one tutor versus another. So tutors do have the option to favorite tutors. And they can have a list of favorite tutors so that they can connect with their favorite tutors whenever that tutor is working and available. And of course, our tutors are not there to give the answer. It's not like Google. They're there to guide the student to, again, to that academically sound conclusion. I always say that one of the most annoying things about tutor.com for teenagers is that our tutors ask them a lot of questions. They want to understand, where the student is in, with the problem that they've brought, what their knowledge already is of the topic or of the subject matter, so that they can appropriately, help the student in a way that they need help. So when you come in to tutor.com, when you log into your account, it's very simple. You're going to just fill out the pre-session questionnaire. It's just going to include your topic, so your math, your science, social studies, etc. And then under the subject, you'll then drill that down to pick the subject that you want. So whether everything from elementary math through discrete and finite math and statistics and multivariable calculus, all the things that make my head spin as an English major. But then you will put your grade level in. Then you can choose whether you want to just text chat with the tutor or if you want to talk to the tutor. And then you can type in a question, you can attach a file, you can attach any kind of format. So if you want to take a picture of a worksheet that you have or a screenshot of something, that's a good thing that you can attach to share with the tutor. So you don't have to do as much typing or explaining in the chat. And then also across the top, you'll see our other features, which we're going to talk about a little bit more, but you can schedule a session, but there's really no need to, because you can come in anytime 24/7 and get your assistance right there, then and there with the tutor. We also have our drop-off paper review. We have some practice quizzes in there. Those practice quizzes are for about a middle school level and up, but those are just something that the students can take if they want to practice their math, science, English. There's quite a few different quizzes in there. And then we also have some other tools for college prep, which we'll also talk about in just a moment. So once you have clicked that connect button, you're going to be launched into our virtual classroom. It is completely web-based, so there's no downloads, no plugins, nothing that you have to do special just to get into tutor.com. As long as you have an internet connection, you are good to go. You can draw on the whiteboard with the tutor. There are tools. You can see the text chat there. The audio options allow you to turn on and off your voice chat capability. We have a text editor. We have a graphing calculator in there. You can actually change the background if you are working on, a math problem. We also have aligned background and also larger graph paper. We've got shapes and symbols and all those things that you can pull into the classroom as well. So it's very simple to use, and students even as young as, the first graders I've seen come in here, and they're very, savvy with technology these days. So it's pretty easy for everyone. So in addition to connecting with the live tutor, we do have a lot of other features available. One thing we have is test prep, so we can help with SAT, ACT, PSAT. We do have ASVAB practice quizzes as well. We can assist with our AP coursework as well as exams. And I don't think I mentioned when I was talking about the subjects, we do have 28 AP subjects in there now. We can help with GED. We can help with, graduate level as well, GRE, GMAT, MCAT, LSAT, test prep. And we also just added NCLEX, which is for our nursing students. And then we have essay drop-off, which I'll go into a little more detail, and our college prep assistance as well, which I'll talk about in just a sec. So our writing drop-off is great. And you can, so if you don't want to sit with a tutor and, while they read your entire essay, you can actually drop off your essay or your piece of writing to one of our tutors, and we do guarantee it back reviewed within 12 hours. And just between us, it's usually a lot less than 12 hours. Sometimes it's 1 or 2 or 3 hours, and you'll get your paper back reviewed. So you just answer a few questions before you drop off the essay, where you are in the writing process, if you have a particular citation format that you're using, just a few things to help the tutor understand what you are dropping off. And then also it will ask you for some additional areas that you would like the tutor to focus on during their review. And then once the tutor's reviewed it, you're going to get it back with comments in the margin, as well as a rubric with feedback about the essay, about the things that you wanted the tutor to focus on as well. So that is our drop off an essay function. We get a lot of, I would say, middle school and up that utilize this service. They like the fact that they can drop it off, go to bed, wake up, get their essay, or maybe go to soccer practice, eat dinner, whatever, and they don't have to actually sit with a live tutor. Then we also, for our college-bound students, we have just added our brand new college admissions tool, which is really neat. And then, of course, we have SAT, ACT prep available as well. So our college admissions tool includes an activities list and a checklist. In the activities list, these are all things that you can start as early as 9th grade. You can start putting in your academics, your extracurriculars, work experience, volunteer work, all of that stuff in here. And then you have this great list when you're ready to apply for colleges that you can print out and have right there when you're filling out your college application, so that you don't have to remember when you're a junior what it was that you did when you were a freshman. Also, the checklist here is going to go by year. So if you open up each of that, there'll be a video that you can watch talking about what you should be doing if you're in your freshman year, or in your sophomore year, or the fall and spring and that type of your junior year, when it start getting down to the nitty gritty of applying to colleges. So that's kind of neat as well. It kind of gives students a guide as to what they need to be doing and where they need to be in the college application process. And then there's also a college tracker in here where you can put in a school, and it'll give you some details about the school. So if you have a few schools that you're thinking about applying to, you can put those in here, and it will tell you the acceptance rate, how many students graduate in 4 years, 5 years, the enrollment of the school, how many students live on campus, that type of thing. And also, which I think is very helpful, it'll tell you what their standard is for the SAT or ACT, what scores that school wants the student to get to be able to get in there. And then you can actually take that score and go to our SAT, ACT prep and put that in as your target score. And then, work towards getting that score. So lots of neat features in our new college admissions tool that we are very excited about. That's brand new. And then our SAT, ACT Essentials has also been recently updated, and there's also some things in there regarding the digital SAT, which everyone is starting to do now as well. But there are 20 full-length practice tests in there with instant score calculations. There's skill drills, video lessons. Also, again, you can put in your target score, and it will kind of generate sort of a self-paced tool that you can use to get to the score that you want to get. And of course, we also have live tutors that can help with SAT, ACT, and PSAT prep as well. So if you're struggling with any parts of the test, you can go in and get help from one of our live tutors. So this is a neat tool. And then this is through the Princeton Review. So this is actually a product that would cost families about $500 if they were going to have to purchase it. But this is a sort of a value add-on in their tutor.com account. It is completely free, just like the rest of tutor.com is for our military and DoD families. And then we've also added a brand new partner resource center. So for those of you who are interested in sharing the tutor.com love with your communities, you can come to our partner resource center. You just go to tutor.com/military, click on Partner Resource Center down there in the bottom right of the banner image, and it will take you to our beautiful purple page where you can sign up to receive our newsletter. You can order promotional materials. We also have a fairly new store where now you can go in. It's like online shopping for free because you can order materials and get them shipped to you at absolutely no cost. We've got flyers and bookmarks and magnets and rat cards and all sorts of things in there. You can also come to this page if you would like to request a visit from someone on our team, or if you'd like us to do a briefing or a webinar or anything virtual as well. You can also email us directly, of course, but this is just another place where you can do that. And then also on our partner resource page, you can access all of our materials if you just wanted to print something or send something digitally. And we also have some outreach kits for different seasons in there. We have social media, graphics, and things like that that you can use. Also, if you're interested in sharing tutor.com with your communities. That is sort of tutor.com in a nutshell and all of our features and everything. And we are more than happy to take any questions that everyone might have about the service. Or if there's something I didn't cover that you'd like to hear more about, please let me know and we'll be happy to do that. But on this page is all of our email addresses, and my colleague Jolene has been very quiet, but she's there. You can see her in the corner there, and so we have a fabulous team, and we're here to help.
So with that, do we have any questions from our attendees? Feel free to unmute and you can address your questions. As you're thinking about perhaps a question you'd like to ask, Maureen, I did have one about schools. You know, not all schools have 100% military, unless maybe they're on base or something, or they're abroad. How does a school deal with the fact that they may have mixed populations? They have civilian and military, and perhaps they're not even DoD employees. How does a school promote your materials or your resource, knowing they have that mixed population?
Well, that's a tricky one, and one that Jolene and the rest of the team and I deal with on a regular basis. Obviously, you don't want to single out one population versus another, but a lot of the schools might have a military liaison or a military page or something where they could promote the service. We also, we do go into schools and do demos, and some schools choose to, pull out their military kids because it is important to them. They may have a large enough population where it is important to them for those students to have that resource because it is free. And then, also some of the schools might have the military family life counselors in there. And often, we make sure that they know all about it. We can also offer training for the school counselors, teachers, those types of things so that they know about it. And if they know that they have a military student in particular that might benefit from the resource, they can share it with them. So it's basically, kind of up to the school and how they sort of, present those resources to the military kids. So.
Perfect. I have one question. Somebody texted me or chatted with me. How can teachers use tutor.com?
Great question. Well, some of the things that we recommend for teachers to do, we have found that tutor.com is something, tutoring, and I say this, I'm sure if anybody's ever heard me speak before, they've heard me say this, but tutoring is like broccoli, okay? It is that vegetable that we know is probably good for us, and perhaps we should be adding it to our menu, our dinner plate, but we're not necessarily going to seek it out from the buffet table if there's chocolate cake nearby. So we have to kind of pour cheese sauce on that broccoli. And teachers, one thing that teachers can do is maybe if it's an English language arts teacher or writing, and they do writing in their class, maybe have them do an assignment at home with tutor.com, like a writing assignment, and drop it off. And then, then if it is a large military population where all the students are eligible, they can all open up their papers together the next day and look at what the tutor has said about their piece of writing, or they could maybe suggest that they do one of their homework problems in tutor.com, just to kind of get the students familiar with tutor.com. And then Jolene, do you want to add anything to that? Because I'm going to put you on the spot now, but she goes into a lot of schools as well.
Those are great suggestions. And I think sometimes too, maybe knowing if a teacher knows that the service is available to certain students, to the military connected students, it's worth, if that teacher can say like, hey, I can direct that student when they come to me with a question, I can direct this student to tutor.com. So that way it frees me up for a student that doesn't have access to tutor.com through the military program. And so that's one area too that I encourage teachers to say, okay, where can you maximize your time? It's like having an extra teacher in your classroom for each of your students that are military connected. And so that's one way that I encourage teachers to use it.
Thanks.
That's great. I do have I have a couple more questions from the attendees. For the voice feature, is that only for select tutors, or can you filter that option when you're looking for a tutor?
Yeah, so when you, let me actually just click back to the screen so you can see. I'm hoping I'm understanding your question correctly. So if you see here, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but you see where it says chat only and chat plus voice. So if you want to talk to the tutor or have the option to talk to the tutor when you're in the classroom, you just need to make sure you click chat plus voice. And then when you get into the classroom, the tutor will say, is it okay to turn the microphones on, and then you can turn it on, and you can always turn it off again. But hopefully, I think that's what the question was. But if I need to clarify some more, I can.
And another question was, when you leave if you're overseas and you leave the Department of Defense, say you're a DoD civilian and you're working overseas and you come back stateside, your student is attending a DoD school on base. When they come back, do they not qualify for that anymore, or do they still have their account?
If they are a DoD civilian, then they still qualify. So as long as they work for the Department of Defense in some capacity, even if they they can work at the BX, or they can, work in the schools or whatever it is. If they are still a DoD civilian, then their entire family is still eligible to use it.
Wow, that's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Any other questions? That was a great question. Here's another question. Will the program be expanded to other government employees, or will it just stay with DoD? I think I know the answer to this because DoD pays for this, but I don't know if you've had any inquiries about that.
Well, I mean, DoD is paying for it, obviously. So that is a great question. It's all about funding, right? I just, just to be perfectly honest, I mean, for example, the Coast Guard, the DoD doesn't fund the Coast Guard. So we are funded through Coast Guard Mutual Assistance for Coast Guard families. So, it just comes down to who the DoD is willing to fund, and then who is willing to fund those other groups. We do have FEA, which is the Federal Employee something Administration. Oh, gosh, I didn't I didn't look that up before this call. But they provide for other government employees for their children. They do have some access to tutor.com, but there is a salary cap on that. But if anyone is a government employee and they're not DoD, they can go to the FEA, FEEA.org website, and there is more information under their, I think you can just search tutoring on their site and it'll come up.
Yeah, and there's a couple more questions that people dropped in. Do MFLEX have access to the service for our kids?
So if an MFLEC is not a DoD connected or not a military spouse or anything like that, they are welcome to contact us, and we'd be happy to give them courtesy access.
That's wonderful. And then another clarifying question is, the program available for a spouse going to college and college age children? I think it's yes, but I don't know if you want to
Yes, all the way, yes.
That's great, because when it first started, and Maureen and I were talking about this about 14 years ago, when the program was still kind of new, it was really focused just on tutoring. So it's come a long way. And I think they've recognized the need to expand the program to other DoD, support, employees and their families. I can imagine the response has been phenomenal for this.
It really, yeah, it has.
What kind of things are you folks looking? I know you just released all your new resources and your new whistles and things that have been released. What are some of the things you're looking at for the future and to expand the program, or to
Well, I think we did, yeah, we just added the college admissions tool. We've updated the SAT, ACT stuff. I think potentially maybe some more test prep things in there, because we are sister companies with the Princeton Review, and they have great test prep resources. So we like to steal things from them and give them for free to our military and DoD folks. And then also, I know that we will be adding some more bells and whistles to our classroom, kind of updating that a little bit. Being a company that has been around for so long, I mean, tutor.com itself has been around since 1998. And the internet was barely born back then, right? So we've made obviously updates to the classroom, but you might, it's not quite as flashy as maybe kids are used to, and there's not as much, fun bling. So I think there's some confetti and things in the future. Don't quote me on that, but no, they are going to be updating the classroom, and maybe being able to integrate with some other platforms like, Google and things like that possibly our classroom doesn't do at this time. So I think that's going to be those are the next big updates.
That's great.
Before we move on, Maureen, there's one other thing I'd like to add in just about the test prep. We recently also added an NCLEX RN test prep program, and I don't know if we mentioned that earlier.
I think I kind of breezed by it because it's not really K-12, but yeah, that would go along with the spouse and college age kid education.
Yeah. Looking at nursing, it's a good test prep program that's new and fresh and fun.
We've also got questions more about eligibility. Are civilian contractors with the military covered, or is it only DoD civilians, GS and NAF, veterans, and retirees? That's a good question.
That's a good question. Yeah. And yes, you do have to be a DoD employee in some capacity, or serving in some capacity, or if you have a level of disability from the VA, or if you are medically retired, or if you are a Gold Star family.
So basically, it would be great if they just contact you. If they can't create their account, they probably want to contact you directly just to clarify if they would.
Yeah, and we're happy to field any of those. And you can email either one of us individually, or military team goes to our whole mighty team of 5. So we will be happy to answer any questions that way.
I did want to highlight a comment from Patty Kalaye, who's from California. She's a school liaison. She said she loves the new flyer for teachers and the college admissions tool. She said, thanks for all you do. Thought that was very nice. And it's true.
Well, I mean,
your resources have really improved. I mean, it was always great, but it's neat that you're constantly looking at the need and making sure it's engaging for the members or people who qualify, and getting the word out there.
We try to be helpful, and we've always provided free resources to folks, but now we've actually, got our cool little store that we've partnered with a third party where they're actually like printing and sending the materials straight from there. So it's a little more streamlined now. So, and we're also trying to consolidate some of our materials because we do have a lot of things. And so my motto is save a tree in 2023. So we're trying to do some double-sided things and things like that. So, but still, it's always good to have those resources.
One other question about clarification on eligibility: family of reserve qualified, or only when they're on active duty status?
Nope, any status, traditional reservist. Yep, all of the above.
That's great. So it's really about who doesn't qualify, right? At this point.
I
It's
mean,
pretty much
it's
a
starting to
way-
become a shorter list. Yeah, I mean, so that's a good thing.
It's a great thing. I know that you mentioned your website. I know Jolene's putting in there, dropping in the chat about your promotional materials that get me ordered at no cost. We do the same, so we love being able to make things free and downloadable on the internet. So yeah, if you have any questions, I guess they can visit your website. If you haven't listed their email, please contact them directly. They're really responsive, and with her huge team of 5, they do so much. So I don't know if anyone has any other qualifying questions, or I don't know if you have any inquiries that maybe we didn't address during the presentation. Seeing none, I just wanted to thank Maureen and Jolene for a great presentation. We love short and sweet. It was so to the point and very efficient. We all love that. We appreciate all the information you've shared, and hopefully, you as an attendee can take this information and share it back with the folks you work with, your colleagues, or share it with school districts or anyone who needs to know about this. Again, it's pretty much free. And at no cost, and really is a great resource for so many, not only for our kids, but for our spouses, our families, our older kids who are going to college and so forth. So I think it's a wonderful resource, and really appreciate the time you spent with us, Jolene and Maureen, today to share about tutor.com.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been great.
We for our attendees, you will receive a follow-up email with the link to the webinar, which will be posted on our website at mic3.net. We thank you again and hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And please look out for the next series that will be coming out probably next month or so. Thank you. Have a great rest of your week.